Hey guys, it's your favorite sisters with the Confessions of a Reluctant Caregiver show. On the show, you'll hear caregivers confessing the good, the bad, and the completely unexpected. You're guaranteed to relate, be inspired, leave with helpful tips and resources, and of course, laugh. Today's episode is part of our special series, Heroes Caring for Heroes. We're featuring organizations who offer services and support to our hero caregivers. Now, let's listen in as we learn more about these amazing organizations. Hey, Jay.
Hi, Natalie.
It is so wonderful to be with you today.
Okay, I have to tell you something that I'm super excited about.
What's that?
First of all, you're not singing, and I'm really grateful for that. And then secondly, we have an in-studio guest.
That's what I'm really excited about. I almost started singing with the whole in-studio, but before we get to that,
Yes.
This is super special. Not only do we have we're recording at PBS.
Yes.
We are in studio, so we're big girls.
Absolutely.
But we have a guest here in person, the first one ever. I know, right? And it's our Heroes Caring for Heroes special series.
Absolutely. Sponsored by CVS Health, who we love, and Tenna. They are the #1 adult incontinence brand. They have made this series happen, so we're super excited.
Very happy to both of them. And so I'm going to tell you, at some point, Kendall, I might sing. I might break into song. I've already sung once this morning. So, and Jay just sang along too.
I did.
We do. Kendall, are you a singer? Privately. Privately. I feel like that was like, I didn't ask if anything was off limits, and you're like, singing.
In the shower only.
Well, we're in the car. My daughter's really into Frozen, so we riff off of Elsa a lot.
So in other words, let it go, let it go.
So sorry.
Let it snow, or
Let's introduce the guest.
let's do it.
We're going to move on. I'm so sorry, folks. So thank you for listening to Heroes Caring for Heroes. This is one of our education series, which these are some of the series that I love. And we've got Kendall Cloeter with us today. And Kendall is with Renovation Alliance.
Yes.
And you know how I love construction.
You do have a love of construction.
I do. I have my contractor's license. I'm going to volunteer for this group.
Random act of nobody would think that JJ could hold a hammer. It's me.
Really? Did you really say that?
I did, but keep going.
Okay, sorry. So we are so excited to introduce Renovation Alliance today. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys what they do. They focus on improving the homes and lives of low-income homeowners while ensuring affordable housing options are available, and they revitalize communities.
I love
I
them.
love that. They work with volunteers. They do a little fundraising. I think they're fantastic. They provide critical home repair services in the Roanoke Valley. That's Roanoke, Virginia.
We do love Roanoke.
I know, the Roanoke Valley area.
It's a star city.
That is true. Of Southwest Virginia. Here's the kicker. All free of charge. And they are making an incredible difference in people's lives. And I'm going to tell you about Kendall. Hold on.
Okay, tell us.
Kendall Cloeter. She's a passionate advocate for affordable housing. She's been doing this all her life, and she's not really that old.
No, she's like a puppy over here.
She is a puppy.
She has no wrinkles.
She was born and raised in Roanoke. She's back. She left, but she's back now.
I like that.
And we are incredibly thrilled to have her here. She has some kids. She has a husband, and she has a dog named Franklin.
Franklin is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure we're gonna make sure Franklin's photo makes it into the montage for this.
Make them famous.
Right? We're gonna make it famous. So, Kendall, we are so happy to have you with us. I'm gonna tell you. So my neighbor Gary, who absolutely thinks the world of this organization and the work that you're doing because it's so personal, because his daughter is a veteran, and he thinks the world of you. And so when we were doing the series last year, Jay, we had Casey Kelly come on, and she and her husband, Stephen, had massive need, and he had gone through so much, and we loved them. And so Gary came to me after and said, "Hey, do you know about Renovation Alliance?" And I said, "No." And I think that's terrible. And this was at the end of the series, so I didn't know. Couldn't bring you on last year. And so he said, "I think we could potentially help the Kelly family." And I said, that would be pretty awesome. And so he's been working on this, and so beautiful. You guys are actually going to be doing some stuff in their home this coming weekend. And I'm going to go out, and we're going to do some reels. And you're going to get to see Kendall not only on this show, but also in reels on social media. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to see the Kellys and the kids. Love those kids. The dragon.
They did reels with us last year.
They did reels with us last
So we're
year.
gonna
Okay,
see
so
how
anyway,
we're doing. Yeah.
so that's how we got here. And I knew this year Renovation Alliance had to be one of our educational episodes because of the work you're doing. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're happy to be here.
Yeah, fantastic.
So let's start off. So we've got all these questions. So we do this a little bit differently because we want to make sure that you're able to really highlight everything that the organization does. And so start off by telling us how Renovation Alliance kind of got started.
Yeah, Renovation Alliance got started in 1999 when a group of citizens got together and saw that there was a great need for home repairs in the area and no one to fill that gap. So they brought together that year about 50 people, just volunteers in the community in the Roanoke area to rebuild 5 homes. And they did that all free of charge.
Yeah.
And, fortunately, they had folks who were involved in the housing authority and on city council. And so that just a movement started growing and the word got out. And so we've grown from that 50 homes that we did in 1999. We did 82 homes last year, but they were much larger. We're working with contractors now. And this year we're aiming to do 100 homes, and it's our 25th year of service.
So you went from 5 homes to 100. That's awesome.
I'm just amazed. And you do it basically free of charge. These people are really in need.
Oh, man. And is it military? So, like, who qualifies? Like, how does that work?
There are only 2 ways to qualify. So 2 criteria that you've got to meet. It's one that you own the home and that your household income is equal to or below 80% area median income, which is set by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Right. And then on top of that, so, we've got just an incredible waiting list. About 300 applications come in each year. Wow. We're able to serve this year's 100, and that's a really, really, we're digging in deep to get to those homeowners. So on top of that, we prioritize. And we prioritize folks who are over the age of 60, persons living with disabilities, and veterans and surviving partners as well. And then we also focus services on single head of households with young children in the home.
So I'm curious because 100 projects and now you're bringing in contractors. What do these projects look like? Like, are you just adding like a faucet or are we talking about like just massive, massive builds?
I mean, everyone's different. So sometimes we'll get a call from someone who has a physical limitation and they need a ramp on their home. So that's a pretty small repair for us to do. And we have a great group of volunteers that goes and builds ramp components in our warehouse. So they'll build the bases, the handrails, and then they assemble them on site. That's a pretty simple project for us. And then we go to the level where someone's called us. They've had a roof leak for so long, didn't know what to do about it. And now their ceilings are caving in, and can we come and help? So it becomes a little bit more extensive.
Yeah.
Another costly one that we do quite a bit is HVAC system replacements.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and that's also a critical one, especially in our winter and summer months. So we'll do some big projects, and then a lot of the homes come through that need a number of those repairs. We'll try to tick off as many critical ones as possible.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. And it's a combination of volunteers and then with the contractors and stuff. I know now we're totally off on the question.
That's like what? And they're somewhat in order.
They're kind of there.
I'm so intrigued.
Yeah, I'm like, so is it 100% volunteer based? There's some folks that you may pay for their services, which is a combination of because you guys are a nonprofit.
We are.
Okay. So go into that.
Yeah. So it started out as all volunteers, and volunteers, especially in the Roanoke community, volunteers are incredible. This is such a generous, caring community. Everyone wants to take care of one another, and so we always have great folks that want to come out. But the level of repairs that we're seeing, of course, we've been in this operation now for 25 years. Roanoke area has a very aging housing stock.
Really,
the repairs themselves are becoming more intense, and ones that you need permits for and contractors' licenses to do safely. So we are seeing volunteership become a little bit more of a limited part of our program, and the rest of it is being done by skilled professionals that we are creating partnerships with to have donations of labor and materials, or otherwise just paying right out of pocket.
So for those, what's the average cost on these projects? Like how much is this costing?
Such a range, yeah. So the average investment right now is about $6,000, but that doesn't include the volunteer time and also some of the donations from our contracting partners. So if you accounted for the value, it'd probably go up to about $8,000 to $10,000 per project that we're investing in. And mind you, the average household income of the folks that we're serving is about $22,000 a year.
Wow.
So it's it's really out of reach to be able to be doing these massive home repairs.
Wow. This is such important work. I'm sitting here thinking about it because we partner with the Department of Social Services here in Roanoke, and they talk about, literally just yesterday, talk about the needs of individuals who have homes. And I appreciate you saying we've got an aging stock. And I think a lot of homes in the U.S., we've got aging homes. And some people can say, I don't know that I can remain in my home without some modifications or some renovations to really bring it up to meet my needs. So you're thinking about ADA, because homes, 50, 60 years ago were not built with ADA specs in mind. And so doorways that aren't wide enough for us to age in place. Like we talk about aging in place all the time.
And we want to stay in the house. We know that there are healthier outcomes for people that stay in their home.
Exactly.
Are there certain things that you guys do? I'm just curious, for people that want to stay in their home, are there certain renovations that you do? I mean, I know we talk about ramps. Yeah, for people with disabilities, are there, certain renovations?
Common ones that you'd be like, hey guys, if you're renovating your home right now, even though this is about your organization, if you're like, this is being proactive.
Oh, yeah. The lever handles on your doorknobs, that's one of the cheapest, easiest ones to do, and doesn't take a contractor. I mean, I haven't done it in my own home.
We were just talking about this morning.
I developed a family to do that one. But other people do other skills, and you can watch a YouTube video to do it too, which is cool. And then grab bars. That's another super simple, cheap one to implement. Some of those grippers on the bottom of your tub or shower. Yeah. Those are another easy one.
Well, one of the things I think about, though, is you wouldn't even, if you have a neighbor or you have an older relative, even if that income level is lower, those are not super expensive items. Like I think about what a shower bar would cost, or I think about just, easy items like that. And I could, like you said, I could install those things for a lot of people. And so that can be a gift. I wouldn't have to go to Renovation Alliance for. I could say, you know what, I'm going to do that, so that it doesn't take funds out of your all's, bucket. So I think that's good information.
I love that. Or you could volunteer with the Renovation Alliance, honestly.
Oh yeah, and take it with you and say, do you have somebody that needs this? I would like to do it.
I'd love to have you.
Oh, that is so sweet. I feel like JJ's going to need to have to come back.
I have to come back. I know. I'm like,
okay, so I'm going to get back on track
sorry,
because this is a lot of fun. This is what happens. We kind of float all over the place. Okay, so why do you think this work is so important?
What does it mean to everybody to have a home? Yeah, I think about the luxury that I had growing up to be able to be in a clean, safe, healthy home, and that it wasn't a stress on my parents to be able to afford the routine maintenance that comes up.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of folks who have made do in unhealthy environments. We've seen folks who have lost access to water in their homes and are just used to purchasing jugs of water at the store every week to bring back to their house. We recently had a homeowner who is an older adult with a disability, and they couldn't afford to put a ramp on their home. So what they did instead was they would turn around and crawl down backwards down the front steps to get to their car. So people want to be in their homes. And I think that, as a community, if we can just invest in making that safer for individuals, restoring that pride and securing that type of investment for households, that the whole community is going to benefit.
Well, I think, I know you're a social worker by trade.
Yeah.
Let's just go there, Jay. I mean, JJ
not the social worker.
MBA. We have MSWs over here. And, but I mean, think about it. Like what you're doing is you're helping on a macro level and a micro level, right? And or direct level. And so on the direct level, you're offering that person continued independence and pride and independence. There's something you said for that and because that's going to impact their health and wellness. Yeah. I can stay in my own home.
Yeah.
I don't have to. And the fact that these folks are, you've got an example of somebody having to crawl out backwards, to try to, that shows determination and grit, and they deserve to have that. But then on a macro level, social work side, you're helping build capacity and you're keeping people where we know that our overall costs and the strain on the system, whether it's emergency services or hospital systems, or people having to go live out of home, congregate settings, you're giving them the American dream, if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then to tickle JJ's interest here too, the vast majority of wealth that individuals have is invested in their home.
That's true.
And, for white households, it's over $100,000 on average across the nation. That's the average amount of wealth that a white household is invested in their home is over $100,000. Black and brown households, it's much less. So, just to be able to preserve that home ownership and the equity that someone has in their home is meaningful to that individual household and future generations. It's funding that's going to be able to be passed down. And so we're also considering how home renovations and preservation really does impact just generational wealth accumulation. And that social justice piece, because there's so much work to be done, and Renovation Alliance and all home repair nonprofits are really having an eye on that type of preservation and equity.
Okay, that is, I am so glad. Thought about that.
I'm so glad you brought that up and talking about how, and for so many people, that is where their money's in. I mean, look at people who purchase real estate and as opposed to going and putting into their 401k.
Yeah.
I mean, because people this is the thing, people have to have housing.
Yeah,
that is these are the things that are basic things you have to have, and these individuals, all your categories of who you're serving, 60 plus, disabilities, veterans, these individuals who are low income, and we want to lift everybody up, and that's what I hear you saying that you guys want to be able to do.
Just seems like everybody needs just that little bit of help, especially a little help. Yeah, just a little bit of help. So, what's the biggest challenge for you all?
Funding. Always funding. If you meet a nonprofit that doesn't say funding, I want to mention not that.
That's kind of easy.
And then hire them.
What about volunteers? Like funding and volunteers?
Yeah. Skilled volunteers. Okay. We work with a lot of those same volunteer groups every year, and they're incredible. I would also love to be able to lift some of the burden off of them, so I'm not constantly contacting them to say, like, hey, can you also come out this weekend? So new volunteer groups would be great. We do have a summer youth program where we invite youth groups from, around to come and spend a week with us and do projects. And that's a really great one because they come with adult leaders. We provide some on-site supervision and training, and it's also a really great way for people to earn skills, get to know a different part of the world that they'd be necessarily be in. And otherwise, just fundraising help. This is expensive work, and it's getting more expensive every year. Yeah, that has not helped. And the level of work that we're doing now is so expensive. Yeah. So, donations, a bigger investment from our localities, state, federal would also be amazing.
Yeah. So that was okay. So we never talk about politics or anything. But here's we're not talking about that. But here's my question: What would you like to see happen? Because we talk about healthcare, caregiving, everything like that. There are so many levels above us. There's state government, localities, federal. What would you like to see? What's your dream, of what could help with the housing crisis?
We're obviously in a major housing crisis, and so everything helps. I would love to see the national and statewide conversation be focused more on preservation of our existing housing stock rather than new builds, which, new builds is also incredibly important, of course. I'm never going to say no to more housing, but existing housing, especially the existing affordable housing, is naturally occurring. Yeah. And if we can just lift the current housing stock so that we would be happy for anyone in our own families to live there, I think the whole community is going to benefit. You look in the city of Roanoke, and there's so many cities like this across the nation. Our housing stock is getting old. It's not looking great. It's had historic underinvestment. Our city's doing a lot of work to try to funnel resources into it, but it's expensive work. Yeah. We've got, Lead Safe Roanoke here in town is doing a lot of work to get rid of some of the lead that's containing our homes, but it's just expensive. And so if we could start talking about what would it take in our localities to preserve the affordable housing stock that we have and make sure that the folks that are there can stay there or return, because we also have some vacant properties that could use that assistance.
This is not only just an issue in Roanoke.
No.
This is absolutely a conversation that every community should be having and every state should be having, and the feds should be looking at and saying, how do we push this down? Because I go back to look at the existing housing that we have. It goes back to the homelessness issue. The homelessness issue in the United States is only getting worse, and affordable housing is one of the biggest culprits. And so, how do we work with nonprofits like yourself and to be able to find solutions so that everybody has affordable housing? I know that we've gone completely into affordable housing, but it's true.
But everybody deserves a home. And I think
that's what
what you all do is you make sure they can stay in that home. They deserve that home. They deserve the upkeep of the house that they've invested.
Mm-hmm. So, I think when you said everybody deserves a home, so what type of impact does Renovation Alliance have on the household that it serves?
I mean, short of just the preservation of homeownership, we've also been able to survey the homeowners that we've served and ask, how does this impact you? And across the board, everyone says it's improved my quality of life, my sense of security in the home. And then also one that's really interesting to me is community connection. Especially when they've had a volunteer group on their project, that they've had that, really positive interaction with fellow members of the community. And then two, some households, the work that we're doing is also exterior. And so the work improves the look of the home and can also increase that community pride and that neighborhood pride. And so individuals are happy coming home and happy having their neighbors see them come to their home.
It also, but pride in your own property too. Maybe there is a little bit more of the upkeep as opposed, because I'm assuming there's some before and after photos where you're like, that's pretty different looking. But there is something to be said for, your home being hopefully a representation of you, our things as a representation. And so, if your home is cluttered on the inside, I always look at it as a social worker and say, what's going on? What's going on? And so is this reflection? And so I think there's something, not only that we say, you want to be well-groomed because it helps with your self-esteem, but even where you surround yourself by.
Oh, yeah.
Those things are going to improve your own health and wellness. I keep coming back to health and wellness because I think that's so important, both physically, but also mentally, emotionally.
It makes me think about, you talked about roofs, or you talk about no water, or, just things like that, the health impact of things like that as well. That just amazes me. Those projects that you talk about, there are so many people out there that those issues, so many of us don't know about. So I kind of want to I'm like, okay, how do I get involved? How do people how do we get involved with stuff like that? How do I get involved with Renovation Alliance? How do I find you?
Give us a call.
Email. Call me.
I know, my number is. No, but we have a great website, renovateall.org, where you can just get more information about the organization and all of our contact information. But otherwise, if you're interested in housing issues at large, just Google home repairs, and then your locality or area. And there's going to be a Habitat for Humanity affiliate close by, a Rebuilding Together affiliate close by. Those are national organizations that have many affiliates across the United States. And then also there's some, much smaller organizations that are tucked in around. And if there's not one and you see a need in the area, just like Renovation Alliance, it was groups of people that just wanted to do something and had the skills to do it. I don't have the building construction skills. But I can rally some people and I can call my friends and I can find somebody that does.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are the same way.
Yeah.
So I want to jump back to one question here.
Sorry, I got excited. I was ready to volunteer.
Well, I
wanted to know.
I can tell
we're going to go on a project.
I'm like, let's go. JJ's going on Saturday. So let me ask you this. If Renovation Alliance didn't exist, what would folks do?
Yeah. So that's another question we ask. There are options out there.
Okay.
So if you have some sort of means, you can take out home equity loans. You can, so there's just, you take an investment out against your home and it adds onto the monthly mortgage. But for the folks that we're serving, their limited income that's just too risky. A lot of folks that we're working with are on a small Social Security check each month or have some type of hourly paid, but it's a little bit frenetic, not always reliable. So that's not as much of an option. So when we've asked that question, what would your other options be? And they usually say, I'd make do. And make do until it's no longer feasible to make do. Or in cases where it's just unsafe to be there. Let's say it's January and the heating is out. We have had many homeowners who crank up the stove and open it and heat their home that way. So people don't want to leave their homes and will stay there as long as they possibly can. And I guess if we were not there, and I'm sure this is happening in other areas where this is not an option, people will just be in an unhealthy situation for a very long time until somebody pulls them out.
Yeah, no different than people opening up gas grills and putting on in their homes, or kerosene heaters. And you think about that and you're like, hey, we can't do that. We can't do that. And I think as a society, we have to say, we can't allow this to happen. Yeah. We have to care for one another. And we literally were just talking to somebody earlier, just talking about we really moving away from individualism to really being able to support each other as a community. It's really why, we talked about Care Forward, and what we want to do with that is we do believe that, strangers do become neighbors. And I think that these volunteers that are going into the lives of these individuals, they're volunteering, they're modeling. Because I would say the people that you're blessing are going out and then are also equally more likely to go and help another person because someone helped them. Yeah. I love that. I love the idea of it. I think I know that that's happening because I think that's how we create kinder communities. Mm-hmm. So I know Renovation Alliance is pretty much here just in Roanoke.
We do serve the surrounding counties too.
Okay.
So it's Roanoke, the full Roanoke Valley area. So it's City of Roanoke, and then the counties are Roanoke, Botetourt, Craig, Floyd, and Franklin.
Yeah.
But
so yes,
other than that, so we are here.
So the thing is, I know people are going to be listening to me like, I want that. So again, if people are outside, you mentioned, Habitat for Humanity, see who's connected, affiliate groups with them. That's a good way. Yeah. Anybody else that you think of?
So, Rebuilding Together. So, Rebuilding Together is a national nonprofit that their whole focus is also free home repairs. So, Habitat, their big focus is affordable home ownership opportunities. Mm-hmm. Some affiliates do have the repair side as well.
Okay.
And then Rebuilding Together. But otherwise, the best way to do it would be to dial 211 on your phone or visit findhelp.org.
Oh. We love them.
We like findhelp.org. They are some of our favorite people. And but there's a lot. I'm going to throw out a couple more names. Please. You've got the Virginia Navigator. You have Virginia Navigator. So that's one of the, similar to 211, it's like a cousin. That's what I joke with them about. Yeah. I'm like, oh, you're like 211's cousin. Yeah. 211's a national number for information referral. Virginia has their own specific as well. 211 covers that. And so you've got Disability Navigator, which is a part of the Navigator series. You also have Veteran Navigator and Senior Navigator. And so, I'm so glad you brought up information referral. That's fantastic.
I'm gonna hire Kendall. She's gonna come on the show with me. You're fired.
Oh my gosh.
I think Kendall's doing an awesome job.
She is.
You guys are great.
Well, I'm going to say it right now. So, all right. So I want to tell us your website one more time.
It's renovateall, renovateall.org.
I love that. And so, just remember that they are, we absolutely support our nonprofits. They do take donations, and they will, not only just of, resource. Okay. So if you don't have, as JJ would say, if you don't have talent, you can donate dollars, because those dollars go really far.
For those of us who do have
talent. If you are a business who works in the construction industry at any level, if you touch a home, get with Kendall, right? Because you're always looking for more contractors and people, skilled professionals to come in, and supplies, High, Lowe's, Home Depot. And any hardware store, ASIC Advantage. I'm allowed to say that, so because I'll do it.
We'll call you up.
We'll call you up. Our grandparents owned a hardware store.
Oh,
so we grew up in a hardware, so we'd be like, oh, our grandparents would have totally done all this. They would have donated supplies.
Awesome. Yeah,
and
discontinued items.
It's totally fine. You don't need those just because they don't match.
Give us those.
Yeah, totally fine.
But
and then of course, so volunteers, dollars, and partner organizations is what it sounds like Kendall could really use. Absolutely. And Kendall, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you. This was wonderful.
I love
We're cheering. We're cheering you
I
on.
hope Franklin comes out on Saturday.
Hey,
Oh.
be there.
You know what? He could make a guest appearance.
Franklin the dog.
Yeah,
Could come.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, he's really hairy, and I'm delivering lunches that people might not.
Oh, that's overrated. We're
okay.
Southerners. You're all worried. Look at the little dog hair between
The
friends.
food in the trunk. You're okay. You got our permission.
Yeah, it's silly.
Thank you, Kendall.
Guys, thanks so much for being with us today on our special series, which is our educational episode with Heroes Caring for Heroes. And this is supported by CVS Health and TENA. And so we also have a couple other friends like the Fisher House Foundation who's been helping us, as well as Summit Behavioral Health Care. And so lots of great partner organizations continue to listen into the series and support Renovation Alliance.
Absolutely.
Until we confess again,
Correct.
we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Well, friends, that's a wrap for today's educational episode. Thank you for listening to our special series, Heroes Caring for Heroes. And don't forget to visit our website to sign up for our monthly newsletter, sign up for the free Sisterhood Advantage Discount Club, and of course, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, and Pinterest. You'll also find the video recording of all our episodes on the Confessions website and our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time when we confess again. Till then, take care of you. Okay, let's talk disclaimers. We are not medical professionals and are not providing any medical advice. If you have medical questions, we recommend that you talk with a medical professional of your choice. As always, my sisters and I at Confessions of a Reluctant Caregiver have taken care in selecting the speakers, but the opinions of our speakers are theirs alone. The views and opinions stated in this show are solely those of the contributors and not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting company. This podcast is copyrighted and no part can be reproduced without the express written consent of the Sisterhood of Care, LLC. Thank you for listening to the Confessions of a Reluctant Caregiver podcast.